one who has been a driving force behind the General Assembly Resolution 66/281 on the International Day of Happiness, His Excellency Ambassador Hamid Bayati, the Permanent Representative of Iraq to the United Nations. Ambassador,
thank you, Maher. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, the Secretary General. It's a pleasure and honor to be among you to talk about the International Day of Happiness. Bhutan had the initiative of having a resolution in 2011 about world happiness, and in March last year, me and a team of celebrities met the President of the General Assembly, Nasser, the former President, and Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. And we thought we should have a day designated by the UN for international happiness. And after deliberation with the Office of the President of the General Assembly and Ambassador Chowdhury helped us to select the 20th of March because the length of day and night is equal, so it's reflect the balance of nature. And 20th of March, as you know, is the beginning of spring. Many countries in the world on 21st of March celebrate Nowruz, and 13 countries celebrated Nowruz a couple of days ago in the General Assembly, and it's the beginning of spring. Nations used to celebrate that day because it's the end of winter and beginning of the harvest season, where they could have water, flowers, blossoms, etc., etc. So the idea of the happiness is worldwide, and I have a friend of mine who published this book about happiness in Africa. I will encourage you to go and Google it and read about it. This was on the margin of the World Cup in 2009, when this photographer went to many African countries to take pictures of people smiling, to show the world that Africa, although it's the poorest continent in the world, it could be the happiest. Because many people don't understand what happiness is. Many people don't know how to have happiness, and the majority of people don't have real and truly happiness. Most of the people believe happiness that you have a big salary, a good car, a big house, but we have millionaires and billionaires and celebrities who take a lot of drugs, die because of overdose, and so many things happen. While you see a farmer with a poor family, and they live happily in this life. Happiness is always come within. And you could be the happiest person in the worst circumstances. And history shows that prophets and messengers were tortured, were opposed, were rejected by their people, but they were happy because they were sacrificing their lives for others. And the happiest people, I believe, that those who live for others, not for themselves. This book was given to Nelson Mandela, and Nelson Mandela was in prison for a long time. He was the longest prisoner, but he became a symbol for freedom in the world. Myself, I was in prison and tortured in Iraq by the former dictatorial regime. But you don't believe that inside myself I was smiling while I was tortured. I was laughing because I couldn't laugh loudly, I would be killed, and saying, look at these people who are torturing me. They are not humans. They are like animals, and I think they are not happy. I am happy because I was tortured for a good cause. I was struggling against the most brutal dictatorship in the world, and my hero was my mother. Since we have more ladies today, it's a good for gender equality and empowerment of women. I have to tell her story. In actual fact, I hosted a lunch, as every year I do, with Secretary General and 7 Under Secretary General ladies, and 5 men Under Secretary General. And I talked about my mother as a hero because she stood with me while I was struggling, while I was in prison, even when I left Iraq and lived in exile. She was always supporting me. She never complained. She never said a word. When Saddam regime executed members of my family, she was forced with my sister, whose husband was executed, to take their bodies to be buried. No single male was allowed to join the bodies, just in case it could be turned into a demonstration against the government. And then she was forced to be on TV 3 times as a threat to me. And it's not a joke to face a regime dictatorship, because he killed complete families, used chemical weapons to kill thousands of people. And at one stage I was worried. The most important thing for me in my life was my mother. I was worried she could be killed as the other 8 members of my family. When I went back to Iraq in 2003, I had another brother who was kidnapped, tortured, mostly was killed in 2005. And for 3 months, I was visiting her every day. She was crying every day, but never complaining. This is a hero of my life. She's a woman. I think women will inspire the whole world, because every one of us come from a mother, and without mothers, we couldn't live. Thank you very much.
21st of March, which is tomorrow, is Mother Day. It's suitable for it to fit right after International Day of Happiness. So thank you for also getting that to be made. Our next speaker is former Undersecretary General Anwarul Karim Chaudhry, who is well known for his relentless efforts in support of the culture of peace. Today, he has agreed to share his thoughts on how to connect happiness with the inner transformation of individuals. Ambassador Chaudhry.
Thank you very much, Mahan, for this introduction. I'm delighted that I'm coming to speak after Peter, who quoted Rabindranath. I'm delighted for that, and also Ambassador Bhati, with whom I worked very closely as the resolution was progressing during the 66th session. This is the first ever observance and celebration of the International Day of Happiness by the United Nations, and I believe that it will continue to expand in its celebration, in its outreach, in its inclusion of all people of the world, so that people find United Nations leading in this eternal quest for happiness and peace. And I believe it will be wonderful to engage, and I'm very delighted to see many young people here today. So, as Ambassador Bhati mentioned about many women joining us, but it is also very important that young people join us, not only this year, but in subsequent years. The UN resolution. Thank you, Jyoti. The UN resolution mentioned that pursuit of happiness is a fundamental human goal. And I think, and happiness, last evening there was a celebration and a launch of a book by Sri Chinmoy called The Jewels of Happiness. And there, one of his quotation is, peace is the embodiment of abiding happiness. And peace and happiness go hand in hand. So the objective, the overarching objective of the United Nations and the objective of happiness come together very nicely. So this is an occasion which needs to be enhanced further in our work. And I encourage civil society to think of doing something which fills the whole day with celebration on this day next year. I will share with you some practical thoughts which I believe is important and connected to happiness. If we desire to look for happiness, we should prepare ourselves for happiness. And I think that is very important. And what do I say? This is a kind of, as I said, you need a particular mindset to prepare for it. And I have identified few elements in today's world which are necessary. to make you feel that way. Firstly, Ambassador Wangchuk mentioned about Gandhi's quotation about the greed and the need. I think the worst enemy of happiness is greed. And you need to ask yourself, what are you greeding for is really going to bring you happiness? This materialistic pursuit has taken away happiness from all of us. There is no end to materialistic pursuits. The second point I believe is very important, which is building a sense of spirituality in yourself. That this universe is a much bigger thing than just individuals, ourselves. And that is very important. That will make you feel how small, how insignificant each one of us are. It is. And that is very important. If you put yourself in a bigger context, that will make you stronger. The third thing, and this is very important in today's world, you need to understand and have respect for diversity and respect for global solidarity. We are one world. I cannot be happy with millions or even my next neighbor remaining unhappy, because we are so interconnected. Day in and day out, we need to understand that. And then the world is so diverse. Accept that, respect that, and that will make you happy. You know, respecting somebody is such a delight, such a joy. So remember that. The next thing, the fourth thing for me is also we have to understand this intergenerational connectivity. Intergenerational connectedness is extremely important. Older generation, the newer, younger people need to connect and transmit whatever is good in the past to or the present to the future. That is extremely important, and we should know that. Finally, share whatever happiness you have. Sharing will increase your happiness. Share with next person, another person, anywhere. And today, in this day and age of interconnectedness, internet opportunities, you can share with the rest of the world, with anybody you want. Do that, and that will bring happiness. I think these essential things are my humble thoughts which I wanted to share with you. Thank you.